my corner of the internet. I'm Shannon, and today I've got another book tag video to share with you guys. This one's called the TALKIN Titles book tag. I found this tag on Slanted Spine's YouTube channel. I love her channel. I love the book tags she posts, and this one's actually an original that she came up with. So of course I will post a link to her video in the description. Feel free to go and check that out. But let's get on into the questions. Question number 1. We often say don't judge a book by its cover, but do you judge a book by its title? Does a book's title influence whether or not you pick up a book? Sometimes. I'm definitely guilty of picking up a book just because the title sounds intriguing. Now, if it's a book I'm looking for that I've heard a lot about or that I know will be up my alley, I don't care what it's called, I will go and get it. But if I'm just wandering a bookstore, titles definitely catch my eye and sometimes influence whether or not I'll pick them up. Question number 2. When you read a book, do you try to figure out how it got its title if it's not an obvious title? Does it bother you when you can't figure it out? Yes, I am constantly trying to figure out how a book got its title. And I love that that's one of the questions because it tells me that other people do it too. And when I find the reason for the title, it's such a satisfying feeling. I'm like, oh, there it is. And yes, if I can't figure it out, it does bother me, but I have fun trying to figure it out. And I love seeing where people pull their titles from. It's so interesting. To me, coming up with a title is one of the hardest things, aside from actually writing the book or whatever. But trying to find that perfect title, it can be stressful for sure. So I love seeing how people's minds work for them to come up with the titles that they do. Question number 3. Do you typically remember book titles, or are you always going that one book? I often remember book titles, especially if it's a book that really struck a chord with me. I'll always remember those titles. There are a few that I can't quite remember when I'm trying to talk about them, but for the most part, a title always sticks with me. Question number 4, do you feel that series titles should coordinate? What's the best series titles that come to mind? Now we've been over this before in that I don't read a ton of series, or I haven't read a ton of series. I've read, the first one that comes to mind is the Practical Magic trilogy that was Practical Magic, The Rules of Magic, and Magic Lessons. I don't know quite how I felt about that. I thought that like Magic Lessons, especially, I felt like there was a different title that could have been called. That seemed a little simplistic for what an amazing book it was. But it all fits together and it's fine. So I guess the long and short of it is I don't care if the titles coordinate or not. It really doesn't matter to me. Question number 5. What's your favorite title? Oof. My favorite title? I love the title All My Puny Sorrows, which is one of my favorite books. It's by Miriam Toews, and I just love that title. All My Puny Sorrows. That she chose the word puny, I don't know. I found that so charming. I loved it. When you read the book, her sorrows are massive. The things that happen, the loss she deals with is so large that, I don't know, the title just fits the book so beautifully. And like I said, I love that she chose the word puny. I feel like that word's not used much, but it really packs a punch. All My Puny Sorrows. It's beautiful. It's a book about loss and grief and mental illness and trying your hardest to save somebody who doesn't want to be saved. And I love that title. A second title that I really loved is Stephen King's Full Dark, No Stars. That's one that I can remember it years ago standing in the bookstore trying to figure out which Stephen King book I wanted to read next. And that title, Full Dark, No Stars. As soon as I saw that, I was like, well, that's the one, because it's such a beautiful title, but it also has that creepy vibe to it. Full Dark, No Stars. Loved it. Okay, question number 6. What's the most iconic title that comes to mind? I actually have this book right by me because I was recently talking about it and I wanted to just see it again. And that is, tell me this isn't an iconic title, We'll All Be Burnt in Our Beds Some Night. I mean, that creates an image. That intrigued me the minute. This book was recommended to me by my aunt, and Joel Thomas Hines, he's a Newfoundland writer, and this book was fantastic. It was dark and it was difficult, and this title, so good. We'll All Be Burnt in Our Bed Some Night. Like, that's gonna stick with you. That's gonna make you wonder, what is this book about? And it's just so stark and so dark. I loved it. Definitely iconic title. All right. What's the most uninspired, generic, lame title that comes to mind? I guess the first book that comes to mind is one I read recently, which I loved the book, and the title has grown on me, but it's The Girls Are All So Nice Here. And at first I was like, I'm not sure what I think about that title, and I'm still not 100% sure what I think about that title, but the more I sit with it, the more I like it. So I guess we'll go with that one, although, like I said, it's growing on me. Another one that comes to mind as kind of just sort of a basic is The Wife Upstairs. Again, I liked that book a lot, but I find sometimes thrillers have just really basic titles, like The Wife Upstairs, or like The Girl on the Train, or, you know, The Girl in Apartment 18, and I don't love any of those titles, or those kinds of titles, but it's usually fitting for the story, but I do prefer more like sort of poetic type of name, if you will. Anyway, the final question, question number 8. Hypothetically, if you were to rename your channel using an already existent book title, what title would you choose for your channel? That's such a fun question. As you can tell, I didn't think much about these questions before I sat down to film. I kind of just wanted to film them as it came. I guess if I had to pick one that I always really liked, that was very simple, is a book by Alice Munro, and it's called Dear Life. Nice and simple, Dear Life. Maybe that. Although the answer to that question would probably change depending on the day you asked, but for now we'll go with that one. Anyway, you guys, I hope you enjoyed this. It was a nice, fun, quick tag. Again, I'm gonna put Slanted Spine's channel in the description box. Go and check her out. She's got some really great content, and I love watching her videos. So I hope you guys have a great day, and I will see you again real soon with another book talk. Bye.